Hey guys, welcome back to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys swinging by the channel to spend some of your day with me. And guys, today what I want to talk about is how live scope is effectively putting an end to bass fishing superstars. Bass fishing superstars that we've known it throughout the past, guys like Roland Martin and Bill Dance and Rick Clunn and all those type of guys, that's a thing of the past. You're not going to have that anymore because of live scope and forward-facing sonar technology. And I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that. And I think after I break this down, I think everybody will be in agreement that this is just another one of the destructive elements that we've seen from forward-facing sonar technology that has eroded our sport and continues to do so. Also, guys, before we get started, a couple quick reminders. You guys have heard me talking about it, but I'm going to be starting my Intuitive Angling live stream, my private live stream here in a few weeks. I'm just waiting to get everything all lined up with it. And if you want to be part of that live stream, guys, all you have to do is go into my description here in the video, either sign up for the Patreon program or become a channel member by pushing that little join button for information on my homepage. And the private live stream, my live stream is going to be available to channel members and Patreon members. And this is going to be a great chance. Every week we're going to get together, do a live stream, talk about all the current stuff going on, interact with each other. So looking forward to talking to you guys and really appreciate everybody that's been signing up for that. Okay, I got thinking about this the other day because I've been doing, if you guys have seen it on my Facebook page, Intuitive Angling with Randy Blaukat Facebook, I've been sharing a lot of the old time, back in the day type photos that I had from fishing over the past 40 years professionally. And it got me thinking about it. It's like when I look back and I see all the bass fishing superstars, guys like Clunn and Larry Nixon and Guido Hibdon and Denny Brower, you guys know the ones I'm talking about. We don't have that anymore, and we're not going to have that anymore because of live scope. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. In order for somebody to be elevated to the level of bass fishing superstar, you have to be an artist in your sport. And you have to be an artist at mastering different type of techniques in the sport that allow you to stand out. Now, say for example, Guido Hibdon with his little finesse jig, Rick Clunn with his spinnerbait and a square bill crankbait, Denny Brower with flipping a jig, David Fritz with deep cranking a crankbait. The list goes on and on and on about people that have gained fame through that art form of bass fishing and the complex diversity that it requires to elevate yourself to that. Now, what has happened is ever since the last couple of years with the advent of spotlighting for bass, the art form of bass has been degraded. The art form of bass fishing has been degraded, and it's now relegated into deciphering blips on a electronic screen. That's all it is. And I don't care what anyone says. I've heard these podcasters say, "Oh, Randy, you don't know what you're talking about. It takes a lot of skill to use live scope, and if it was so easy, everybody would be doing it." Well, it takes skill for my 8-year-old son to get on his his video games, his Xbox and whatever that stuff that they use, Oculus and iPads and stuff, and navigate through the screen on the video game screen. But that does not equate to being an artist and a true master of the art of bass fishing. It's an insult to the sport. It doesn't have anything to do with the the art form of bass fishing. And this is what I'm talking about, because as long as forward-facing sonar is allowed to destroy the sport of bass fishing, all of the anglers out there that have gained success with it and are using it for success, there's no art form to it. There's nothing that makes them stand out as being exceptional anglers. There's not. And I've always said, and I'll say it again, guys, I do not consider success with forward-facing sonar as a legitimate success. In my own mind and the mind of a lot of different anglers out there, I see it as an umbilical cord to success, something that does not require somebody to be a master of the sport. Therefore, if you don't have that mastery of the sport and you don't have the ability to showcase those talents in a diverse range of techniques that define what bass fishing is, nobody's ever going to be a superstar again, because you're going to have a constant influx of younger anglers that all they do is use this technology, and they get completely watered down in the sea of new and upcoming college and high school anglers that have been raised on this technology. And it's like a herd of cows almost. There's nothing within that herd of cows that sets those anglers apart like your Hank Parkers and like your Rick Cluns and like your Larry Nixons and like your Gary Kleins and the Paul Eliases and, you know, all the past superstars in the sport of fishing. We are not going to have that anymore. And we don't have it anymore. So the days of that, the days of having superstars in sports within professional fishing is over. And this is super important because when you look back at any sport, you look back at Mickey Mantle in baseball, look back at John McEnroe in tennis, look back at Earl Anthony and Mark Roth in bowling, all that type of stuff. The sports need superstars, and the superstars are cultivated and they're brought to the forefront through their talents and their mastery of that particular art form. And you can't gain respect from anyone within the fishing industry being a master of using artificial, fake, live scope technology. That's not mastery of anything. All that is the ability to decipher dots on a screen. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, there's not some talent that requires catching fish, but the point is, you wouldn't even have those fish to catch if you didn't see them on that screen. You wouldn't even have known to throw at them to try to catch them. The art form of bass fishing is complex and diverse, and that is why it takes a long time to master it in a real sense, because you have to understand the nuances of seasonal movements, seasonal patterns of bass fishing, all the things that how weather patterns and how, you know, environmental factors contribute to different type of bass mood and personality. You got to have a complete understanding of lure categories and bait profiles and colors and how they interact with all the variables on the water. You have to be a master of controlling every controlled variable that you can and dealing with uncontrolled variables. And you have to have, and this is the most fundamental part about the important, you have to be able to fish to find fish. And professional anglers, they should be held to a higher standard. It should be hard for them. They should not have the crutch of electronic technology to help them catch fish because they are professional anglers. They're supposed to be the best of the best. Now, some dude that doesn't know anything about fishing, he plugs in the cheater box and it helps him catch fish. That's whatever. If that's how they want to, you know, insult the sport of fishing by doing that, that's their right to do it. But that's not what professional fishing is. Professional fishing is the art form of fishing to find fish, it being tough. It's not nothing easy about it, to showcase the incredible talents that we used to have in professional fishing. And guys, I fished with all the top guys in the world. I have literally been in the boat with all of the top anglers in the world. Aaron Martins, Rick Clun, Larry Nixon, Roland Martin, Hank Parker, Denny Brower. I fished with all of them in the same boat. And I can tell you the level of mastery that they have and the complexity and the depth of their mastery in bass fishing, there's nothing like that today. There's not. It's like people today that have gained success through forward-facing sonar do not have that mastery of the sport, and that is why we're not going to have any more superstars. As long as electronic technology is allowed to destroy our sport, the days of superstars in fishing are going to be over. It's not going to be the same. And like I said, there's nothing admirable, or there's nothing that makes somebody want to gravitate to somebody that has had success through the artificial means of looking at a video game screen to get them to gain success. There's nothing honorable about that whatsoever. There's nothing admirable about that. There's nothing that people want to try to emulate with that. I remember when I was growing up, it's like, man, I want to learn how to flip a jig like Denny Brower did, or man, I want to learn how to throw that buzzbait like Rick Clun did. You don't hear anybody saying, man, I want to go be able to decipher that blip on that video game screen like such and such did. It doesn't work like that. So until we get rid of that technology, we're not going to have any more superstars in the sport. And then you know what that's going to do? That's going to do nothing but harm the tournament organizations, because tournament organizations have got to have heroes in the sport. They've got to have people that stand out in the sport, because that is what keeps the interest in it. And when you have this ocean of generic live scopers out there, you know, that's their game. There's nothing attractive to that on any level. There's nothing that builds superstars or heroes in the sport. That is the reality of the situation. So listen up, tournament organizations. It's just like, I've never seen a group of people in this industry like some of the people that own these tournament organizations that basically undermine their own success by allowing this to go on. So anyway, guys, shoot me some messages. Let me know what you think about it. We'll talk later.